When I first heard about Bitcoin, it seemed just like this very stupid magic internet money. I didn't really think it was very impressive at all. And I kept reading, and within a couple hours, I became absolutely hooked.
Was skeptical at first, didn't think it could possibly work, but have the skills to actually go in and look at it and convince myself that technically it was correct, that it could actually work.
It was just an experiment to begin with, but I could see the potential with it.
It's a fundamental innovation. That's how I think of it.
Bitcoin is the most important invention, at least since the internet.
Ask yourself, which is more important in your life, money or email? And I think most people will say money, so this is bigger than email.
It's just incredibly novel and interesting solution to problems.
The short version of what is Bitcoin is cash for the internet. So it's a new kind of money, and it's also a payment network that runs over the internet. There's a piece of digital information that you can hold that has value. And as long as nobody else knows that information, that value belongs to you.
This sort of technology was developed independently a few times. I think the NSA developed it in the 70s, and then academic cryptographers started putting this out later in the 90s. And it's called public key cryptography. Now, we now rely on that technology every time your phone talks to your bank, or even over maybe SMS sometimes. I mean, it's just embedded in the internet and how we talk.
Bitcoin was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto. As far as I know, no one has actually met Satoshi. No one knows who he or she or they are. I've never talked with Satoshi, although I have communicated with him electronically via email or on online forums. Satoshi started working on Bitcoin, he says, in 2007, and it actually took him a couple of years to convince himself that he could actually create a system that would work, that would solve this problem of how do you create a money where there's no single person or organization or government in charge. He started posting to a cryptography mailing list where he described kind of at a high level how it would work and started to get feedback from people on his idea. I believe it was the beginning of 2009, he released an academic paper that described the system in detail. And he also started up Bitcoin. He actually released the code for the system and started it running.
Coming from a crypto background, I mean, one of the first things I did was I read the paper. When you read the paper and you have that background, you think, this is very good. You think, there are kind of 50 things that might be wrong with a proposal like this. And I thought, this answers all those questions. I mean, I thought, this is some very high quality work.
So the key problem that Satoshi solved that made the whole system work was a solution to what's called the double spending problem. So if I have this digital asset that I want to give to somebody else, how do you prevent me from giving it to two different people at the same time? Because obviously if it's digital, it's easy to copy. And Satoshi came up with a brilliant system for if you try to do that, if you try to double spend and give the same Bitcoins to two different people at the same time, everybody notices, and then one or the other of those transactions is considered valid, and the other one's just ignored. So solving the double spend problem was the key technical breakthrough that made Bitcoin possible even.